So now, from our first class, we got a basis on how the rules of limit can be applied. We know the sum rule, the subtraction rule, the multiplication rule, the division rule, and now the constant multiple rule. But since we already know the various rules, how can we apply these rules when we see some limit problems? So please, let's solve these simple limit problems. So now we have a first question that says the limit as s approaches 2 of s cubed plus 4s squared. We can solve this question just by doing direct substitution, but we want to apply the various rules that we just gave. We can solve it using direct substitution. We still get the same answer. We can solve this question by factoring out, and we'll still get the same solution, right? But we are going to apply the various rules on it so that we can get acquainted with the rules. So now, the limit as s approaches 2 of s cubed plus 4s squared. It resembles what? The sum rule, right? The sum rule. We notice that s cubed is in the place of f of x. 4s squared is in the place of g of x. So we just need to open up the limit. So we get a limit as s approaches 2 s cubed plus the limit as s approaches 2 4s squared. So you apply it already. So now let's solve this problem now. The limit as s approaches 2 of s cubed. All we need to do is just to substitute the value of x, the value of s, which is 2, in the limit. So now, substituting 2 in here, we get what? 2 raised to the power of 3, right? Plus, what was f? The limit as s approaches 2, 4s squared. It resembles what? A constant multiple rule. You see here? It resembles the constant multiple rule. So what we need to do is to factor out the 4 out according to the rule, right? So we get plus, factor out the 4, the limit as s approaches 2s squared. So 2 cubed, we know 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, which will give us what? 8, right? 8 plus 4, and apply the limit. Everywhere we see x, we put 2 squared, which is 8 plus 4 times 2 squared, which means 2 times 2, right? Which is 4. We get 8 plus 4 times 4 is 16. So when we add 16 to 8, we get what? 24, right? So the limit as s approaches 2 of s cubed plus 4s squared is equal to 24. So now, this is the first question. Let us try to solve. So with this first question, you can solve the second question, right? You can solve the second question. So we will jump over the second question. You can use the second question to practice. So we'll not solve the second question. We'll go straight to the third question. So now, let's erase. And solve the third question. Sorry, the bowl. So now, the third question. Solving the third question. The limit as s approaches minus 1, 4s squared into 3s plus 1. So what we see? This question resembles what? The multiplication rule, right? It resembles the multiplication rule. So all we need to do is to open out the limit. And we also see that if we open out the limit, we see something like the sum rule also applies to it as well. So now the limit as s approaches minus 1, using the multiplication rule, we get 4s squared times the limit as s approaches minus 1, 3s plus 1. So we're seeing the constant multiple rule also apply here. We see the sum rule also apply here. So let us apply our various rules. That's the reason why it is good to know these various rules. Once you know the rule, nothing can be hard. Mathematics is very simple. Factor out the 2 across. 4, the limit as s approaches minus 1, s squared times the limit as s approaches -1, open it up, 3x, right? So now, because we're opening it out, let us try plus limit as s approaches -1 of 1. So let's try to put this into a parenthesis at least, so that we know that we need to work in a parenthesis first before coming outside of the parenthesis. We know Bodmer's rule, right, from our basis. So now let's apply the limit. So we get 4 as s approaches -1, meaning everywhere we see s, you put -1 all squared times, let's open our parenthesis and apply the limit. The limit as s approaches -1, in place of x, we substitute the -1. So we get 3 into -1 plus as s approaches -1. But mind you, there is no x there. No x is a constant. So we just count 1. Right? So we get -1 squared is just +1. Negative times negative, give me positive, right? We get 4 into, or instead of saying parentheses, we just say 4 times this and this, -3 plus 1, right? Which will give me what? 4 into -2. You will get -3 plus 1, which will give me -2. So if you do your multiplication, 11, -8. So in other words, instead of saying dot, parentheses open, dot, parentheses open, we can either use this dot or use this parentheses. It's the same thing, right? It is the same thing. All we need to do just to understand how we solve the problem. So now, the limit as s approaches -1 of 4s squared into 3s plus 1 is equal to -8. So this is the third question. We are going to solve the last question and be done with today's presentation. So now, let us erase this. And solve the last question. So question number 4, the limit as s approaches 5, s squared minus 3s minus 5 all divided by s plus 7. So what we're seeing was that this particular question, they have the rule of subtraction, they have the rule of division as well. So we are going to apply these various rules. So now, the rule of division of limit, we already know in the first class, right? So let's try and apply the limit as s approaches 5. So the rule of division, this is in place of f of x, this is in place of g of x. So all we need to do is just to open out the limit. So we get s squared minus 3s minus 5 should be divided by the limit as s approaches 5, s plus 7. So now we can solve the problem by just applying the limit out. So we get the limit. Instead of saying now we are going to apply the limit, because we said the limit as s approaches 5, meaning everywhere we see s, we have to substitute the value of s for 5. So taking this now, we get 5 all squared minus 3 into 5 minus 5. Then you close it into a little bracket divided by substituting the value of 5 for x, we get 5 plus 7, right? So now let's continue. 5 squared is 25 minus 3 times 5, which is 15, minus 5, all should be divided by, we add these two values, we get 5 plus 7, which will give us 12, right? 12. So now let's do our subtraction here. We get 25, negative and negative, so we can add them. Minus 20 divided by 12. So if you do your subtraction here, you get 5 divided by what? 12. Becomes our final answer. So the limit as s approaches 5, s squared minus 3s minus 5, all divided by s plus 7 is equal to 5 or 12. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for following. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.